In the farthest reaches of the Suth-Kasa Star System, there is an asteroid field. This cluster of space rocks is millions of kilometers away from the Sutharian homeworld and devoid of natural resources, having been strip-mined by MSI decades ago. Here, in this long-forgotten region of space, a team of workers embarked on an incredible project. 7 starships gathered around one of the largest asteroids, a rock nearly 200 meters in diameter. A mixed group of Sutharians, Nagyari, Olenbar, and droids emerged from the airlocks, all dressed in heavy spacesuits. They spacewalked away from their vessel and set foot on the asteroid's surface. Tools in hand, the crew started to dig. Chapter 14. The Prison Ship Grand Historia. The next morning, Trig was groggy when he reported for duty. He had a crazy dream the night before, but when he tried to remember it, the details slipped away like water through his fingers. In a matter of minutes, the dream was gone from his mind. Most of the crew was already in the cafeteria when he got there. "Rough night?" Bromley asked. "You look like you didn't get any sleep." "Weird dream," Trig replied. "No way, you too?" Tenna stuck her head out of the kitchen door to join in the conversation. Her bushy red hair was looking far more frizzy than normal. "Well, make sure to drink some stim juice," Captain Cantor replied. "We've got a busy few days ahead of us. We're arriving at the homeworld today, and we've got 3 items on our agenda." Cantor stood up to address the crew. "Okay, first things first. We're going to dock with the prison ship Grand Historia for a short visit. Ponico and Trig are going to have a chat with Trig's mother and find out just what the hell is going on with those 2 children and why they're being hunted. After that, we'll be going down to the homeworld itself. Roulan, please." Tactical Officer Roulan stood up. "Here's the plan," Roulan said. "Once we get back, we'll fly down to Venka Urbo and land at the same spaceport as our arms dealer. Selborne and Bromley will take Anora to get her Termin. Everyone else will take it in shifts to refuel, rearm, and resupply the ship. When I give the signal, we all regroup at Manius's place in Venka Urbo. Understood?" "Just saying, nobody does the Termin on Lightwater," Tenna protested from the kitchen. "That's no excuse," Selborne snapped. "Ariha expects you to do your feminine duties." Bromley shuddered as Selborne invoked She of the Void. He clasped his hands together and muttered a quick prayer before resuming his meal. Selborne turned to Captain Cantor. "So, yeah, I'm going to need any and all white-colored clothing you can lend out to us. It's the only thing she can wear during the Termin." "We'll take care of that," Cantor said. "In the meantime, let's get ready to do the first item on our agenda. Once everyone is finished eating, we go to docking stations." Trig had never seen the Sutharian homeworld in his life, so when he heard the planet was in visual range, he raced to the nearest window to get a view. He was disappointed. Visual range, as it turned out, meant Sutharia appeared in the window as a pale dot in the distant star field. It was not worth looking at. Not yet, anyway. Once he got his first ever view of the homeworld, Trig ran to the other side of the ship to get a good look at Suth-Kasa Station. Suth-Kasa was a starbase that dominated the home system. This massive installation was the size of a small moon and swarmed by smaller auxiliary vessels, moving about their own tasks and duties. Asteroid haulers brought massive space rocks to the station to be processed into usable resources. Cargo vessels docked at the trade port, where the symbol of Minamar Specialized Industries was defaced with the insignia of the recently defunct Sutharian Republic. At the far end of an anchorage module, Trig could see his destination. The prison ship Grand Historia was an unremarkable, rectangular starship. Camera drones patrolled the anchorage, and a single boarding tube connected the prison ship to the rest of the starbase. "I get to see my mom," Trig said to himself. He was starting to feel excited. "I get to see my mom!" Trig, Ponico, Captain Cantor, and Tactical Officer Rulon traversed the boarding tube, moving from the Resonance Cascade to Grand Historia. As they waited in the airlock, Trig noticed two of his escorts were carrying blaster pistols, secured to their chest by maglock holsters. On the other side of the airlock, 3 Olenbar men were waiting for Trig and his escorts. Under the dim lights, the blue-skinned aliens seemed surprisingly monstrous. "Welcome to the prison ship Grand Historia," said one of the Olenbar. "My name is Pseudolus Aquila. I am the warden here. This is my ship." Warden Aquila gave a hand signal to his companions, who stepped forward and gave him a slip of paper to read. "You're here to visit prisoner number 628, the warden said. "Full name, Caera Charnhem. Sentenced to 15 years imprisonment for 1 count of attempted murder. Sentence reduced because she was defending the Emperor's supporters during the civil unrest 10 years ago. This is the one you're looking for? Good. The visitation chamber will be open for the day in just a few minutes, and I can take you right there. Now, this is a high-security vessel. You'll need to relinquish your weapons before we proceed." Cantor, Rulon, and Ponico all looked at one another, then started to unclasp their holsters. Cantor and Rulon surrendered their own blaster pistols to the Olenbar guards. Ponico handed over an electric stun baton. "That's all I have," Ponico said to the guard. "That's all he's got," one of the Olenbar relayed to Warden Aquila. "Very well, follow me," Warden Aquila said. "Your mother is eager to see you, young man. We told her you were coming." Trig and his companions were led into cell block 1. As he led the way, Aquila explained how prisoners were housed in self-contained modules, allowing the entire ship to be locked down at a moment's notice. "Not that we need to," Aquila said. "Our prisoners know they are in space. There's not many places to go." The corridors were clean and sterile. Trig felt as though this place was more like a hospital than a home for dangerous criminals. At least, that was the impression Trig had until they crossed the boundary into the Priority Detention Wing. "This module is where we house rebels, insurgents, dissidents, would-be revolutionaries, and anyone else who dares to go against the Sutharian Empire," Warden Aquila explained. "Most of these prisoners are here at the written request of Emperor Kanto himself." Aquila gestured to a far wall, where 2 large paintings were displayed. One of them was a portrait of Emperor Kanto, looking resplendent in a velvet robe. The other portrait was an image of his wife, Prime Minister Morenia Vestum. Trig noticed that Morenia had copper-red hair, and if it was not tied up in a bun, it would have been just as out of control as Tenna's wild hair. Trig felt a chill run through his spine. There was a sinister atmosphere in this wing. He strained his ears and picked up a sound that made his blood run cold. Screaming. Ponico and Rulon heard it too. They looked around a corner and spotted the source. About 200 meters down the corridor, a pair of Olenbar guards were beating a prisoner with their rifle stocks. The Birkin man howled and wailed in agony as he was struck again and again. One of the Olenbar laughed as he landed a blow on the man's head. "Baya Riha!" Trig gasped, invoking the mother of the gods. "Is that necessary?" Ponico asked. "This is a massage compared to what his victims went through," Warden Aquila said. "He's in here for plotting a race war. Birkin rising up against the Valdemar, and by extension, Emperor Kanto. Lots of people are sleeping soundly tonight, because he's in here with us." "But this is so horrible," Trig said, his voice wavering. "Some of the prisoners in here are for sale," Him included, if you'd like to take him off our hands, Warden Aquila said. But you'd better be quick. MSI likes to buy prisoners from us in bulk, always looking for more crystal miners. A surge of fear went through Trig. What? He gasped. What about... Oh, don't worry about 628, Warden Aquila said with a smile Trig did not like. All sales have to go through the government first. We've gotten a few offers for her, but someone in Venka Urbo keeps vetoing the transaction, so she stays here. Shall we? Trig, Ponico, Cantor, and Rulon were guided into a visitation room. A single rectangular table occupied the center of the room. There were no windows. Warden Aquila closed the door behind them. At long last, we're going to get some answers, Ponico said. Yeah, Trig responded, sounding absent-minded. Sorry, I'm scatterbrained. I haven't seen my mom since she got arrested. I'm worried about a lot of things. On the far side of the room, another door opened. A Birkin woman with messy hair and sunken eyes shuffled into the room. When she spotted Trig, her whole form seemed to light up as though one of the gods had touched her. Trig, you're here, she gasped. I'm so happy. Trig ran across the room and hugged his mother. Caera Charnham looked like she was going to cry.